Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just fine.
Thank you. Thank you. So, good evening, Srijit. I think today we are we are here to go through the research that you did on. I'll let you cover the topic. I don't want to break the surprise. So let me kind of give it over to you, hand it over to you. Maybe you can start with a little bit of introduction, and then we get into the topic. So the stage is yours.
Sure, Abhida. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Srijit Kundu. I have graduated from Techno India University with Bachelor's of Business Administration, and now the usual choice, of course, to go after BBA is MBA. So I am currently pursuing my MBA in HRM from IISWBM. It's the first B school in India and Southeast Asia. And being a part of this prestigious organization has helped me connect with Abhinandan Mukherjee, my mentor. So I have been doing an internship in his company, We Empower, for 2 months with HR as my core area. And I've been mainly focused on talent acquisition. So you might ask me why HR and what do you want to go into when you are pursuing HR? So I basically like to interact with people a lot. I like to know people and I like to interact with them on a personal level to get to know how the person is, to judge them if they will be a perfect fit for the company or not. And even if they are not, helping them out to further pro- produce results that will help them.
Yeah.
So my topic today is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness. And I have prepared a small presentation on the same. So shall I share the screen?
Go ahead. Go ahead and share.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think while you bring up the presentation, Srijit, I remember the initial conversations around the topic, and going back to what you said, your passion area about in talent acquisition and in the HR space. So I think we initially started thinking, saying, okay, you want to do some research in talent acquisition, and then we added the color, saying, why don't we do a diversity, right? Piece in talent acquisition. So was it first talent acquisition, then diversity, or first diversity, then talent acquisition? I don't remember.
It
Do
was
you
first
remember that?
talent acquisition, then diversity.
Then diversity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, good. Okay, great. Over to you. Go ahead. I think. Yeah.
Okay. So the topic of today's presentation is DEIB in talent acquisition, basically clubbing the both. Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Both areas. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. One second.
yeah.
Yeah. So what is DEIB? So now after COVID hit and after the world went through a drastic change, we went on to see that not only organization have drastically changed, but they have also gone on online mode. They have started many a things that they did not want to start, but yeah, COVID did help everyone.
Correct.
So my research topic today is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness in talent acquisition. To start off with, diversity means including members from all walks of life in the organization. Equity, it means to show that every employee has the same access to every opportunity that is presented. Inclusion, making sure all the employees of the organization are included and valued in the business function.
Mhm.
And belongingness, they are not just employees, they are a big family, so making them feel like the same.
Mhm. Yep.
DEIB in talent acquisition and recruitment, setting goals and defining what DEIB looks like in your company, presenting a clear picture of what you want from employees and what they will get after they join your company. Embracing empathy, know your employer value proposition. Why should employees join you? Why should we Why should an organization like yours hire employees who are diverse, promoting equity and belongingness, revisiting your application workflow and job descriptions, because that's where everything starts, deliver ongoing DEI training, creating a safe space to give feedback, and form diverse interview panels so that employees are not, they do not feel out of place.
Mm. Right.
Some of the general guidelines to be followed: audit job ads to show what you clearly need and what you clearly want from the employees. Focus on sources where talent pool is very diverse. Encourage diverse employees to refer to their connections. Create company policies that appeal to diverse candidates. Use blind interviews so that there is no disparity, and automate shortlisting. Technology, technologies helping in DEIB. Equal opportunities for work. For that, we have to conduct blind interviews. Improve employee well-being. Websites like remente.com help a lot. Also, organizations today are giving Fitbits and Amazon Alexas and also caring about the employees' mental health. Technology in communication. After COVID hit, video calling, online interviews, these are the norm today. Reduce the unconscious bias by using sites such as LinkedIn, Badgefree, and Naukri.com and hiring from the same. And highlight the disparity in comparison, if any, using tools like SPSS. A few examples of DEIB in workplace. These are two Indian companies and two US companies. Sodexo, it places the highest priority on gender equality, while Wipro committed to leveraging this diversity through effective leadership, engagement, and accountability. Two of the greatest investment banks of US, Morgan Stanley and McKinsey, conducted researches. Morgan Stanley conducted a research on companies with higher gender diversity and proved that higher gender diversity delivered slightly better returns and moderately outperformed those with lower gender diversity. McKinsey, on the other hand, found out that gender diverse executive teams, which make the most important strategic decisions and operational decisions, were correlated with profitable outcomes across geographies. To conclude, for a DEIB strategy to be successful, it has to align with the unique culture of the organizations.
Right.
Organizations need to listen to their employees, have DEIB embedded in their HR programs and their organization culture, and HRs are the people to go for this. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Srijit. I know the actual research was a lot more detailed, but I think thanks for summarizing the key elements. So I think so I think staying on this slide that immediately comes to my mind is, and I think just help me understand your perspective and your thought on the point that the second point you do mention, which I think is a very key element, saying it has to be embedded in the HR programs, but also I think make it a part of the organization. I heard you mention, make it a part of the organizational culture and create, that the sustainability in terms of across the organization. So typically, a lot of times there are misconceptions that diversity or DEIB initiatives are HR initiatives, right? So, what do you think about it? Is it specifically an HR initiative, or from the points that you mentioned, do you feel it's something larger than HR, just HR, right? So, what's your thought on that?
So I feel that it's definitely not just HR initiative. This has to be embedded in the organization culture, as I have written in this slide.
Right.
Organizational leaders and organizational managers who are at the top level need to inculcate this in their organizational strategies and organizational cultures so as to it trickles down to the lowest organizational people.
Right.
This is not just an HR initiative. Everyone has to
Correct.
cooperate and everyone has to put in something so that this organization that they are working for is a gender diverse, not only just gender diverse, but a lot
Correct.
of diversity,
Correct.
inclusion, and belongingness remains in the organization.
Correct. 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 So just one last. I wouldn't call it a question. I mean, just a thought. There is. So you covered quite a few elements, right, in the initial slides around
Yeah.
the elements of diversity or DEIB. Do you think any one of them or two of them or few of them, let's say that way, do you think few of them are more important? I'll tell you where I'm coming from. So my thought process is, whenever these days or largely, I think we talk about diversity, the first thing that comes in our mind, right, and very commonly so, is or very rightly so, is gender diversity, right? I mean, today we see gender disparity in terms of pay, and I saw you mention that the pay parity has to be there using tools and benchmarking systems. How much do you think other elements of diversity, right, are also being considered, right, apart from just the gender diversity? So let's say we know that today there are organizations in almost all sectors who are, including, let's say, third genders beyond male, female into their workforce, right? They're welcoming, right? But let's say, is that the only element of diversity? I know that you covered in your presentation that no, I heard you also saying not just gender diversity. So going back, having that as the background, do you think specific some elements in your presentation you would want to call out when you when you cover this topic of diversity, or do you think all of them are equally important?
No, I don't think so. Just gender diversity is there. Companies today are including a lot of people. So,
Hmm.
as to say, there are a lot of cultural differences, differences in age,
Right,
differences in sexual orientation, differences in religious beliefs.
right,
Companies today are including all employees and from all walks of life. This is
right,
not just gender diversity or just including people who are third genders.
right.
Companies today have made specific provisions for people who are disabled. So I
Hmm.
think companies are really trying hard to include DEIB in their organizational culture by bringing all of them in.
Right, right. Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. That's all I wanted to cover, because I think sometimes we get trapped in this thing of only gender parity and some of those, right? But I think, and I don't want to lose this opportunity to mention that I was part of this hiring initiative, right? I don't know if I've mentioned about this during one of my earlier companies, where we actually hired almost six of them, if I'm not wrong, of not visually, I think hearing impaired, and they were hearing and speech impaired. And believe me, I think I'm still in touch with a few of them. They are doing amazingly well in their careers, right? So it's just about providing those different various target groups, right, within the definitions of diversity, with the opportunity to prove themselves, right? And I just hope organizations do that more and more.
Yeah.
Uh, Great. Anything else that you wanted to cover, Srijit? Otherwise, I think thank you. And
No, I guess not.
okay, great. So I think as we had discussed, I think because this is largely done under the banner of Grow at Pace, right? The learning platform that we've been working for. So I think what we'll do is we'll have the research paper also published on Grow at Pace site as a white paper. So anyone who wants to refer to this is more than welcome. And there could be, maybe further deeper research done on this area. So I think more than happy to have more conversations. But thanks for doing this, Rajit. Really appreciate, and all the
Welcome,
best.
Vida, for giving me the chance to do so.
Absolutely pleasure. Uh, okay, thanks, Rajit. Thank you.